Once again, welcome back to AFL Game Day from the Melbourne Cricket Ground, where later today Richmond and Fitzroy play. The biggest story surrounding football, without a doubt, was in the Sunday Age this morning, and the fact that they report that there's an intensified move between Fitzroy and the Kangaroos, North Melbourne, with a merger in the making. Rohan Connolly, the chief football writer for the Sunday Age, joins us. It's a good one to have, isn't it, Rohan? You must be pretty pleased when you wake up on a Sunday morning and see it front page and all over the paper and everybody following your story. It must have been a big chase for you in the last couple of days. And just how far have you got with it?
Well, the last day was probably one of the hardest working days I've ever had. I mean, the problem with those merger stories, Bruce, they've been going so long now that everyone's just hiding behind a veil of secrecy all the time. And look, I don't think you're going to get many people coming out on the record and confirming those things. So, look, we're pretty happy with our information. We think our sources are very good on this one.
Ron Casey was hard to track down yesterday, and so was Dyson Hall-Lacey, the two men that head up both the respective clubs. You did get to Case later in the day. Yeah,
we cornered him at the harness racing. Actually, one of our general staff got out there where he and his wife were watching the trots. And, look, he came down and spoke to us. We couldn't get into the members. He came down and spoke to us, so that was good of him. But I thought his no comment was fairly significant in its phrasing, actually. I thought it seemed like he wanted to say more than he said, I felt.
And what about from Fitzroy's point of view? Apparently they weren't at the lunch, a couple of the key figures yesterday, at the reenactment match between Carlton and Fitzroy, which in itself is a bit of a story, I guess. Well, yeah. They must have been doing something else of some significance.
Yeah, well, look, Dyson Hall-Lacey's become a little like Howard Hughes lately, a bit of a recluse, and look, it's impossible to get any comment at all. We tried Elaine Finlay, who said she wasn't authorised to comment. She's the Vice President. I caught up with John Burt. He was staying down in Anglesey, though I didn't manage to glean what he was doing down there, but that's the way it's been going. I mean, but look, when the president of the club isn't at a lunch on, as you say, such a historic occasion, I think you've got to start asking a few questions, don't you?
What are the AFL saying?
Well, very little. I mean, their line's been pretty consistent right throughout this. They won't comment on any specific mergers. I thought it was interesting, though, that Ross Oakley restated the league's position in such detail in the Football Record last week. I mean, they devoted 2 full pages to it. And it's clear that they think the debate's hotting up again, that there's things happening, and they want to be seen to be pushing it along without getting too involved, I suppose. So I thought that was quite significant.
Where's Brisbane sit right now? Because a week and a half ago they were the favourites. Any reaction from our northern friends?
Well, they've been almost as hard to get, actually. But look, I've been told that the AFL is probably keener on a Fitzroy-Brisbane merger than a Fitzroy-North merger. I'm not sure quite why, but look, I think from Fitzroy's perspective, a local merger makes more sense. I mean, if they threw their lot in with Brisbane and you're a Fitzroy supporter down here, they had a draw similar to this year, you might not get to see them play in the flesh till about round 13. So North's a very progressive club. They were the first club to establish the niche market at night. They've changed their jumpers. They've always shown they're prepared to compromise a little. And I think that's what makes them pretty good candidates for this one too.
What do you expect to happen in the next week or so?
Well, I'm sure people will try and hose this down. I mean, look, there were some rumours going around yesterday that there could be an announcement as early as tomorrow. Now, I'd be a bit surprised if that happened, but look, it's like someone at the AFL told me this week, it's a bit like a ricocheting bullet, this one. You just don't know where to look next. But what we believe is that of all the talks going on, this one is by far the most likely to happen, and I think you could see something happen in the next week.
Well, two of the emotive issues, particularly from supporters' point of view, are names and Guernseys. You pointed out today that one of the biggest problems with Melbourne and Fitzroy was the naming of the actual club. What about if North Melbourne and Fitzroy get together? Any word on that?
No, we do know that they're prepared to make some concession to Fitzroy in terms of a line on the Guernsey. We know about that much. Name, we haven't really got that information, but look, North Melbourne line seems to make sense, doesn't it? Obviously North Melbourne's going to be the stronger partner in a merger, and you know, I think if Fitzroy is to have any sort of recognition of its history at all, maybe Lions having the emblem and the monogram on the jumper, so it's probably a pretty good way to go.
And do you feel that Fitzroy's lost a bit of ground in the last couple of years when they go to negotiate something like this?
Oh, every time. I mean, look, you cast your mind back now to 1989 and the Fitzroy Bulldogs, how ironic that seems now. I mean, they stood to be the very dominant partner in that merger, but look, their positions weaken year by year. Look, even the one 2 years ago with Melbourne probably might have been more attractive than this one, but at the end of it, at the end of the day, it was very close to coming through, but right at the end, I think Fitzroy got cold feet because they decided they couldn't cope with Melbourne lines. They wanted Melbourne Fitzroy lines. So often things get derailed by what seem like fairly minor detail, but it's such an emotional business, it's probably not hard to understand.
Rohan, thanks for your time and congratulations on a good story.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce.
Yeah, Rohan Connolly, the chief football writer from the Sunday Age.